Well, I'm gonna tell you something right now. Hello, I'm KJ, and you're listening to the Play Legit podcast. I'm reviewing Streets of Rage 4, and it's on Windows, PC, Xbox One, Switch, PS4. So a lot of options, a lot of places to get this game, but is it worth your time? So it's presented by Sega. Basically, Sega said y'all can do it, and it's developed by three indie teams: Dot Emu, Lizard Cube, and Guard Crush Games. Now, the first thing I noticed immediately, people were complaining. I was reading some comments that they were complaining about that they missed their pixels. They missed the old style of play and all that. But I was in that camp immediately that, man, the artwork looks so cool. And all the artwork is hand drawn. The gritty streets have never looked so good. And also, I would go in the options and check out the concept art because even some of the concept art, the characters that they didn't even end up using, I was like, yo, y'all could have used those dudes. They look really cool. But that just shows you the pride that they put into the art in this game. All the levels look so good. The characters look good. Their animations, their movements. The new characters are really cool too. We have Floyd. He has big arms, metal arms like Jax, and he puts it to use. And what I like about this beat 'em up is that when you've played beat 'em ups in the past and you select in the characters and you see their stats, and they tell you like maybe this person specializes in speed, this person specializes in strength, but it doesn't necessarily have a big effect on the gameplay. But in this game, it definitely does. Like Floyd is super strong and he can throw enemies really far, which can help when, let's say, your teammate is fighting an enemy and maybe they need a little bit of help. Floyd can take a person that he's fighting, throw that enemy over into the crowd, and do damage to all the enemies. So, but the trade off, Floyd is incredibly slow. So some attacks are a lot difficult, very difficult for him to get out of the way of because he's so slow. But again, he is so strong. So it's kind of bounces like that. And Cherry, she's really fast. She's like, she can forward dash and run. So Axel can't do that. Axel's pretty well rounded, but he can't forward dash run. So it's different things that they implemented with these characters that it's not just button mashing. Yes, you can button mash, but you're going to get a lot more out of the game if you sit down and check out all the characters and make use of their abilities. And when you're teaming up with one of your friends, maybe y'all decide, okay, I'll get this person because he's good with the strength. I'll get her because she's good with the speed. So it's mixing and mashing, and you get rewarded for doing so. And as you're doing so, understand that combos, you share combos with that other person. And linking combos can be so much fun if you get the juggle down properly, like you get them up against the wall and you're hitting the buttons, and then the other person's hitting the buttons. And then let's say you want to extend the combo, throw in that strong attack. And it's just things like that that add up that really add to the gameplay because again, you share the combo, so it's very satisfying, landing that. And everybody has a star attack, and it's so you have that strong attack. Now in the past, when you hit the strong attack, you would lose life, right? You generally in beat 'em ups when you hit that strong attack, you lose life. But in Streets of Rage 4, you have that potential to lose the life. So that the meter goes down a little bit, like, oh, I used my strong attack, meter went down a little bit. But if you land a bunch of hits in without getting hit, you can get that life back. So I think that that's a really cool mechanic. And also on top of that is the star attack that everybody has a super move. You have to find stars scattered in the level. And when you get those stars, then you can use that super move and that doesn't take any damage from you, but it also just looks freaking cool. So there's different attacks that they threw in, but something that is absolutely outstanding with the game is the dynamic soundtrack. The composers, they really put their time in. The soundtrack fits in. I mean, when you listen to it, it definitely has new sounds and stuff. But at the end of the day, when you're playing, you're like, yeah, this is Streets of Rage. You feel right at home. And regularly, I'll be driving to work, and I'll just listen to the soundtrack because it's just awesome as I'm driving to work, just hearing the music. I would be I'm telling you, like, I think that there's a good chance that it's going to get best soundtrack of the year from a lot of different outlets because it's that good, it's that stellar, and it not only they don't play this one song throughout the entire level, the song will change and it'll amplify depending on what's going on stage. So when you reach a part in Chinatown, the Chinatown level is probably my favorite in the whole game. The music fits that particular area of the level, but as you progress, the music gets a little bit more intense, and it just matches the intensity of the particular fight that you're in. They put a lot of thought into that. They put a lot of thought into the enemies. You have classic enemies mixed in with the newer enemies, but they all have attack patterns that you need to figure out. So when you're playing on earlier difficulties, you can get by just pressing the buttons, absolutely. But when you beat, let's say you beat the game and you get the mania difficulty, they throw so many enemies at you, and they throw a lot of the tougher enemies at you too on screen. There's a lot going on, and you have to think in your head, okay, how can I deal with all this happening at the same time? And so in your head, you have to then think about the attack patterns of all these enemies. And these are a lot of different thoughts that I didn't think I'd be thinking about in a beat 'em up game. What they did here was they did not take away anything that you loved from the past. They said, to me, this is a true sequel because they said, all right, these are the things that we like in this genre that they've gotten right. We're not going to get rid of that. What can we do to improve on top of that? And I think that that's what is something that's very, very good with this game is that they just improve on top of it. It doesn't, they didn't throw away the old. They kept the old and mixed in the new. Story mode features 12 hard hitting stages. And I just don't want to go in too much detail about what you'll come across in stages, but they absolutely slipped in Easter eggs that are obvious, maybe for some fans, and some that are not. And I'm not going to say nothing, but you'll get rewarded for doing a little exploring. They have I was unable to try the 4-player co-op, but there's a 4-player co-op that's local. Now there's 2-player online, but the 4-player co-op is local. I have seen videos of people playing it and it looks just insane. So I look forward to playing with 4 people on Mania difficulty. There's also a boss rush mode. You can play that online, play that locally. Basically, everybody teams up and takes on all the bosses in the games. And there's also a battle mode. And that's also, you can do that online with 2 people, or you can do a 4-player battle mode. And the battle mode is actually a lot more fun than I thought it was going to be. Some of the levels have hazards, and so you could win. Like I beat somebody by, I thought I was going to lose, and I ended up hitting my star attack, and then I hit him into a exploding barrel, and it was just that chain reaction of all those things that I ended up coming out on top. So again, like that's another mode that I wasn't expecting to maybe play like maybe one game of that and never touch the mode again. But this game just keeps bringing you back in. You can unlock retro characters, so you can still get your pixel characters. So it's really cool to see a character from the early 90s. Like you can unlock the Streets of Rage 1 Axel and team up against the Streets of Rage 4 Axel, and they're fighting side by side against all these goons. It's a really cool sight, and you can unlock retro music as well. So you can play these games uh, with the old school music. And again, the selection of the old school music isn't just random. They have certain songs for certain levels. So the selection is throughout the entire game with the music. Like they put thought into it, is what I'm trying to say. So the co-op, you can play by yourself and have a lot of fun, but absolutely, I would definitely play with some people if you can. But again, it's fun solo, super freaking fun with another person, and I can't wait to play with 4 people. I just wish that the 4-player co-op was online. That would be dope. But I understand it's an indie effort, but that'd be sweet if it comes down the line later. This game, with the content that it has, the dope soundtrack, the well thought out gameplay, again, you're gonna have to use your head if you're playing on the tougher difficulties. Just pushing the buttons will not get you the W. It's only $24.99, high replay value. It looks great, great music, tight controls, fun to play. Hey man, I'm gonna give Streets of Rage 4, a 5.
Whoa.
Yeah, 5 out of 5.
What?
It's just too much fun.